I want to talk about fear in the health and wellness world because it is an epidemic. It's a huge problem. I read the books, I listen to the podcasts, I do all the things, taking in all the information, and so many people who work in this industry are absolutely riddled with fear. And I want to say, just from a scientific point of view, not a good energy to be in. Fear actually downregulates your immune system, and it is not helpful for healing. So say you're someone who's trying to heal from something chronic like Lyme disease, if you're in a place of fear all the time, it's going to be really, really, really hard or harder to heal. So here are my steps to help conquer fear in the health and wellness world, because it is, like I said, it's an epidemic. And I think that health and wellness, we don't have to do toxic positivity, but it should be a little bit more hopeful. So here's what I do when I'm dealing with fear in health and wellness. And what this can look like for people is, feeling fear about everything. So like worrying about the EMF exposure, worrying about their Wi-Fi, worrying about their phone and the blue light, worrying about this, worrying about the food, worrying about the gluten, worrying about the Roundup. Like there's obviously, anywhere you look, there's a lot of things that could affect your health. No lie. Like I'm not going to lie and say that these things don't affect your health, because they can and they do. And more people are sensitive to other things than not. Trust me, I've gone down the rabbit hole of everything, and I lived a life that was completely sheltered, completely anxiety ridden, because I wanted to control everything around me. And the truth is that we can't control everything around us. So there has to be a built-in system that you have to help you feel resilient in those moments. Here's the path that I went on, and here's the things that I did. Number one, education. I know it's not sexy, but the thing that I find with the health and wellness world, especially when I'm listening to a lot of people talk about, this is bad and this is bad and this bad, is that a lot of those people, they say they know nutrition extremely well, and they know what Roundup is going to do to you. And they're going to talk about that extensively. But what I don't hear in that conversation is how resilient our bodies are and how good they are at healing. So this takes an education piece, because a lot of the times we like to think of the human body as being something that's, just static and things happen to it. But what's really going on underneath your skin and within your skin as well is that your body is self-healing at all times. At all times, it's healing everything. And the analogy I like to use is, if I cut my thumb right now, if I paper cut my thumb and I came back and looked at it 10 days later, what would happen? It would be completely healed probably. So the same thing happens with everything on the inside. So let's take the example of EMFs. Say you had to go visit your grandmother and she lives in one of those buildings that has like 5G all over it. And while you're there, you start getting headaches. You feel anxious. You can't sleep at night. You're like, oh my God, these 5G towers, like they're really affecting me. Instead of going down that rabbit hole, think about how your body is dealing with that. So we know EMFs do affect sodium gated channels in your body, which are within every nerve. So it makes, nerves have a difficult time working. And this means your central nervous system and your peripheral. So your brain, your spinal cord, and all the nerves, all your fingers and toes. Again, some people are more sensitive than others. Some people won't even notice it or feel it at all. I'm really sensitive to it, so I will be like, ooh, like I feel kind of like neurological symptoms. I feel brain foggy. I can't sleep. I feel anxious. That's kind of how I start to feel in that situation. And instead of going down the rabbit hole of being like, poor me, I'm such a victim to the 5G, I like to think about, okay, what's my body doing? What is my body doing with this? It's having this radiation on it, this EMF exposure, frequency exposure, not radiation, and it is constantly trying to heal it, always. So the second I leave that environment, my body's going, okay, let's start healing, and it's going to get to work. So what it does, I think it holds the sodium gated channels open a little bit longer than we'd like them to be open. And as soon as you leave that environment, it's done. You don't, like, your body starts to heal. I've been a message from people like, how do I detox EMF? There's no detoxing EMF. It's not a toxin that enters your body. It's a frequency that you're around that isn't necessarily supportive of any biology, really. And the reason for that is that it's not pulsed. So there's frequencies all over, everywhere. The sun gives off a frequency, the plants give off frequencies, but they're always pulsed because nature is always in a natural rhythm. Things that aren't in a natural rhythm are actually very irritating to the human body. Microwave, irritating to the human body. EMFs are irritating to the human body. And when exposed long enough, we have all the studies that show it can lead to neurological problems, leaky brain, potentially in children because their skulls are not as thick as ours. It can lead to cancer in adults too, but more children. So as I go down the fear of everything, these are just the facts. And we have to know the knowledge. Obviously, we can't, feeling strong and feeling hopeful is not ignorance. It's not being like, la, 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 I don't want to know the truth. I'm just going to live my life. It's knowing the truth, having the education to know that, like, it's not just that our bodies are like, oh, like these frail little things. They are actually healing all the time from everything. So EMFs, as soon as you leave that environment, your body starts healing. And there's so many things that you can do to help yourself. I obviously have Wi-Fi on right now, so I'm not like a freak about it, but I do turn my Wi-Fi off at night, and I go downstairs in the basement and the electricity panel to our bedroom, turn it off, because I don't want electricity coming through, the little outlets while I'm trying to sleep. So there's things that you can do to help yourself. Control it as much as you can without creating anxiety for yourself, but also have the education to know that your body is so capable. We talk about this in the Being Method constantly, because Western medicine with medical doctors, they don't ever talk about that. It's always, if you want to heal, you have to take a pill. If you want to heal, you have to take a surgery. And there isn't much conversation around the body's self-healing mechanism. They'll do all the studies against the placebo, but then the placebo is kind of like, these are very real things. If you take someone who was raised Christian Science, and I don't know much about the religion, but I know that Christian Science people fundamentally believe that with faith they can heal their own bodies. They actually have better healing rates because that is a belief of theirs. They believe in their body's ability to do it. So there is a really strong correlation between your mindset with healing and also how things in the external world affect you. If you walk around thinking you're a victim to everything, that everything's killing you, that whatever, all this stuff is happening, it's going to be an endless loop of those things being worse for you because your body has created all the fear chemicals against it and your immune system's downregulated, and it's going to be harder on you. And I know that this is hard when you're trying to heal from something. This mindset change, I had to make it when I was like in the depths of hell of a chronic illness and I could barely walk up the stairs. And I was like, okay, you're strong. You're not a victim. And I was like, I feel like I'm dying though. But it's so real. It's so real. Believing in your body actually really does help your cells. It really does help your immune system. So I guess the two things that I'm going for is education. Educate yourself on your body. Look at the immune system. Look it up. Look at what it does. Sometimes when I'm dealing with an illness, I will go on YouTube and type in white blood cells eating parasite, white blood cells eating bacteria. And I watch the videos because I want to see the white blood cell rolling around, just eating up everything that it's supposed to eat, and just knowing like, yeah, like my body's doing it. My body is working for me. And all I have to do is support it and have faith in it. And that leads me to my other thing is believing in your body, believe in your body. It is so important. Your body is working hard for you constantly. And I really think that if most people could grasp these two concepts, that the body is self-healing, and have a really strong foundational knowledge about that. If you want to learn more, please join the Being Method. We go deep into the anatomy and physiology. I promise you, once you spit out the other end of that program, you're like, okay, bodies are wild. EMS not touching me. So that's one thing, but also the mindset piece, like really feel yourself as like a human being. We are the most complicated organisms on this planet. Like, we have built pyramids, maybe. We have, created all this technology, like this phone. I don't know how to build this phone, but a human did it. Like, it's kind of amazing what humans are able to do, and it's amazing what humans are able to live through. Like, so resilient. And a third one, I'll say, just to throw it in there, is when you encounter something in your life that you feel fear about. So say it's a 5G tower, or say, you're somewhere and you don't have anything to eat and there's only gluten muffins and you're like, fuck. Sorry for swearing. I would say grab that muffin and bless it. Say, I'm going to bless you, gluten muffin, even though I know the all the things about gluten. Say, I'm going to bless you because you're going to nourish me and I'm strong enough to handle whatever is in you that I think might be bad. And here's my mantra, you can steal it if you want. I always say, I'm an infinite being. There are so many times where my husband looks at me eating something that like I quote unquote shouldn't be eating for my health. And I look at him and I'm like, baby, I'm an infinite being. That's not touching me. This is not going to touch me. And it's worked out well for my favor. So mindset, educate yourself on the human body. A lot of us don't know anything about our own bodies, and it is groundbreaking what you'll learn. Like, the body is amazing. It is, oh, they're so good at healing. And third, bless things. As soon as you find yourself stepping into fear, be like, nope, I'm not fearful of you. I am strong because I'm a human being. And I promise you, it will really change the game. Health and wellness does not need to be just listening to podcasts about things is scary and all these things are after you. It's about community, it's about healing, it's about education, and it's fun. It doesn't have to be scary.